Welcome to the 2020 to 2021 school year. Again, welcome to the 2020-21 school year. That's a lot of 20s. This year is going to look a little bit different than the years before, but our attitude and our objective remains the same: to create, motivate, and educate lifelong learners, everyone, every day. This slideshow will go through some of the changes that we as a district have made to help protect your child's continued health, as well as provide an overview of what you can expect in the classroom this year. Thanks for coming to my virtual open house. All right, so here's my slide about me. This is my 4th year in the Plato School District, and time has flown like crazy. It feels like I haven't been here that long, but I have been. So I got interested in teaching after working at a residential facility. I worked there with students or children between the ages of 12 and 18, and who had some various issues that prevented them from living with their families or being in the school system. And that's what actually really got me interested in becoming a special educator. A few things about me. I'm a huge chicken enthusiast. You can see there in the bottom left corner of the screen that I have, these are not show chickens. This was for a trunk or treat that we did a few years ago. Those are Annie and Boopy, 2 of our dark Brahmas, and they were all dressed up for Halloween. I'm also a drummer. I've been a drummer for over 20 years now. I drum for my church regularly and have a lot of fun with it. Finally, I hope to be a published author one day. I have a book that I'm working on right now, and my goal, which don't know if I'll make it, but my goal is hopefully to have it published by the end of the year or early next year. All right, so let's talk about our classroom here a little bit. I don't really have pictures up just because I'm always leery about violating confidentiality, and just in case there was something there. So I opted not to do any kind of pictures here. Instead, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it. We have a pretty large classroom. Our class sizes are small enough to easily maintain the 6 feet of distance between students. That shouldn't be a problem. Typically, each student is free to sit where they want and however they're most comfortable. This year, I'm going to have some restrictions on that just due to COVID and our district's procedures. Typically, what I do is I usually have students divided up into tables, and they're free to kind of sit with their friends wherever they want. I may have a little bit more assigned seating this year if I have to, but we'll play it by ear and see how it goes. I will opt for the least amount of restrictions as possible while maintaining a safe environment. I always have some kind of soft music going for my kids. They usually like that. And then I try to avoid the overhead lighting when possible. It's really harsh and it can really grate on students, especially if they're in there for multiple periods with me. So I try to do some more ambient lighting, some warmer lighting, and make the classroom feel a little bit more homey. Next up, classroom communication here. Remind, we'll be using Remind to keep you and your student up to date on what is occurring in our classroom. We encourage all students and parents to sign up for Remind for each of their classes. Additionally, feel free to email me or even give me a ring at my extension, which is 808. I can't promise I'll get back with you immediately because I have all kinds of things going on throughout the day, but I will get back with you at some point. Our classroom and course syllabus. So just a few things here, being that I teach special education, it's going to look a little bit different than your general education classes. All of my classes are weighted for effort, usually between 30 to 50%, depending on the level of coursework. So my upper level classes, they get about, anywhere from 20 to 30%. And then the 50% is typically for my entry level work. That's just because as long as my guys are doing the work, they're participating, that's really what I care about, because that's where your learning is going to take place. So I do grade partially on effort. All students have extra time to work on assignments as per the handbook, which is that 5 days. And usually I work with a student on time extensions should they need it. Most of the time they don't, but I try to be very flexible. I'm a big believer in project work and collaboration, though that's going to have to look a little bit different this year, so we'll probably utilize the Chromebooks more often than not. I like to do, if possible, kind of weekly project work, or sometimes it may take a little bit longer than that, but try to ingrain those soft skills of working with others, negotiation, collaboration, etc. I do use a token economy in my room for snacks, etc. I did not do this last year. I did it the year before, and I'm going to try and bring that back as well as I can. Again, if I can, depending on how easily I'm able to maintain sanitation and whatnot. All right, students will need their own school supplies. Students should bring only necessary items to school and take home extra belongings each night. So my classroom wish list and specific items here, it's really simple. Bring charged Chromebooks, charge your Chromebooks every night, bring a writing utensil as the student prefers. It doesn't bother me if it's a pen or a pencil, whatnot. And then notebooks are always helpful. I do provide paper and I do provide writing utensils, and I do have places where students can charge their Chromebooks, but it makes things a lot easier if they already have all that done. Zoom link for open house. So our virtual open house will be held from August 20th from 4:30 to 7 o'clock. Zoom links for virtual teacher meetings will be found on the district homepage, which is platorv.org. So you'll have to go there if you want to talk to me on the 20th. All right, now this is the COVID area here from the district. Due to COVID, the following procedures have been updated to meet health and safety guidelines. If possible, students and families are encouraged to provide their own transportation to and from school. Students that ride the bus will be assigned seats on the bus with household units. Parents are asked to provide face masks for their children. Face masks are recommended to ride the bus. Pickup procedures have also changed to allow for increased efficiency and safety. Due to COVID-19 guidelines, we ask that parents wait in their vehicles for the children to be dismissed to them. Watch this video to see how we can keep each other safe during drop-off and pickup. Physical activity and arts education are important to overall student well-being. Classes will continue to be offered with modifications and precautions in place to provide for safety and social distancing. A recess will be held one class at a time. Specials may be held in the classroom when necessary. Meals and snacks. Breakfast and lunch may need to be eaten in classrooms or in groups of fewer than 50, depending upon state and local guidelines. Students are allowed to bring their own lunches from home, however, microwaves will not be accessible. Celebrations. Students will not be able to bring in treats from home for birthday parties or celebrations due to current health guidelines. A signed waiver and permission slip will be required to attend after-school tutoring or school-organized events. Our visitor policy, due to COVID-19 guidelines, admitting parents and visitors to the building have changed. Please remain in your vehicle and call the office once you arrive at the school. Office staff will meet you outside, and parent meetings will take place in the former preschool building on the corner of Plato Drive. Students in grade pre-K through 1 will be issued an iPad. Grades 2 through 12 students will be issued a Chromebook. Insurance and user agreement information will be sent home during the first days of school, and students will be provided a login information card. Distance learning. The Plato R5 School District has created the following 3 phases to address potential COVID-19 guidelines during the 2020 to 2021 school year. The district will be in only one phase at a time, and the phase will be determined by the status of the pandemic. At this time, school will open in phase 3 seated classes. So as you can see here, phase 3 is seated classes. Schools are open but with precautions. Phase 2 is blended learning. Schools are open but under social distancing restrictions, and virtual learning is also being used. And then phase 1 is online learning. All school buildings are closed to students, but learning will continue. COVID updates. There are many unknowns and a lot of changing guidance regarding the best way to keep our students and staff safe. Guidance from DESE, the CDC, and area health departments are being utilized to create plans to support safe reentry to school. Students must bring their own bottled water. Water fountains will not be used, but the water bottle station portion of the fountain will be available, so you can refill your drinks. We ask that students refrain from bringing personal items to the school unless it is absolutely necessary to the educational process. Any items brought to school, such as backpacks and water bottles, should be cleaned at home each night. These guidelines are continuously changing. Please be flexible as guidelines may change as we receive new guidance. Thank you for your understanding. All right, and here's my energizing closing. This year will have its challenges just as any other year does, and we will continue to do just as we've done before, which is to adapt and respond as best we can to the situation. We must be wise in our decisions and work for the betterment of all. With wisdom in mind, I'm going to share my favorite quote by Miles Kingdon. Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting one on a fruit salad. Thanks, guys.